In order for you to enlighten yourself, you must spread light within yourself. This is the Think Successfully Room. It's excellent.
Man, welcome back to another episode of the Think Successfully Room. This is the platform where we focus on building mindsets, we building character, bringing value to both you and your people, and aligning your body with your intelligence. I'm your host, QB So Effing Amazing. This is Tiffany, and this is Cairo. Yeah, this is Cairo.
Look, I ain't gonna disturb your peace. I'm not gonna disturb his peace.
And together we talk about the evolution of technology, which we all know is artificial intelligence, TIF. So yeah, as I was saying, you know what I'm saying, before we ran into some technical difficulties, you know, this will play like a part 2 from our last conversation. So just to get an audience, you know, a brief of what the last episode was about. We had a discussion about Elon Musk merger. He had merged both of his companies, XAI, into SpaceX, and we went over the purpose of why he might have did that. And of course, you know, that's why I love having talks with you, you know, and the whole time you was like, okay, the idea it sounds good, you know, but what are the consequences to what he's doing? You know what I'm saying? So even though he's, you know, it sounds good when he says, look, I'm trying to launch X amount of satellites into orbit, you know, but what is the damage that this could cause to Earth's environment and just the infrastructure of space, you know? So, you know, now we have to talk about, you know, both the potential feasibility and the serious environmental risks that could happen, you know, for something done on this scale, you know, because now it's not just an idea no more. You know, he has filed, you know, applications, you know, to get permission to launch these satellites. So, Tiff, what's your thoughts on this?
So I was glad that you sent over the article, and it really, really highlighted some of the things that we discussed in the last episode. So if you guys didn't see it, check that one out. But it also made me think a little bit deeper on the topic too as well, and brought to light some things I didn't necessarily consider. So again, it talks about why he's doing it, a cost-effective way for us to be able to have access to AI and stuff like that. But some of the things that the article touched on were just like, again, stuff that I didn't even consider, because when we initially talked about it, we talked about it just from an Elon Musk perspective, but they really brought into the conversation, like, what if other people that have these same resources like Elon, like in China, try to do the same thing? Like, what can this look like on a greater scale? So it even challenged my way of thinking, and there's some concerns there. So
yeah, absolutely. Now, do you feel like this is a media stunt, or do you really feel like they're running out of the amount of power needed to compute, or the amount of power needed to generate these databases here on Earth?
I think we're running out of resources here on Earth. I mean, when we think about how much water it takes, how much electricity it takes to even utilize ChatGPT and all of the other large language models, like, I think there will come a time that water is one of the main resources. So when it comes down to, will I have water to drink, or will I have water to run ChatGPT? I mean, we're going to get to a point where a choice has to be made, I think. So I really, really think that this is done with the thought process of finding a way to do this without, again, utilizing all the resources on Earth. But in doing that, because the article states too, we don't know what will happen, because Elon's talking about launching 1 million satellites. What if China launches 1 million satellites? What if Korea or Australia or all of these different locations launch 1 million, right? You have to think, because there's a thing known as Kessler syndrome that they were talking about,
Yeah.
where like
Hmm.
things are colliding already in orbit, and it takes a
Yeah.
while for the debris to again reach Earth's orbit, disintegrate, all of that stuff. So it's just, it's a level of uncertainty, and I don't know how they would control it with the pilot program. It's like it gave me more
Hmm.
questions than answers. I was just like, oh, I'm not thinking big enough. You know what I mean? This is beyond what I initially thought. I knew there were cons, but I just didn't know like all of them. So yeah.
Right. Right. Now, I'm glad you brought up the Kessler. I think you did
Uh
pronounce
huh.
that correctly, Kessler syndrome, or
Syndrome. Yep. Look.
syndrome. So yeah, we, in part one, we discussed the upsides, as far as the
Yeah.
solar panels generate constant energy, and then he just claims that it could be cheaper and just greener than Earth data
Yeah.
base data centers due to abundant solar energy. You know what I'm saying? But if you don't mind,
Yeah.
Tiff, I wanted to go down the list of things that could be a possible risk. You know,
Okay.
um, just some major technical and environmental concerns. So they talked about the heat and the cooling challenges
Mm-hmm.
that could come with space, right? So, and I didn't think about this, right? So they're saying that, by there being no air in space, like, yeah, it's cold, but it ain't
Mm-hmm.
there's no air in space, which will make it difficult to remove heat, simply
Mm-hmm.
because electronics, yes, radiate energy radiate heat at a slow pace. So it would
Mm-hmm.
make cooling AI servers pretty difficult.
Difficult.
Um,
Yeah.
then the second then the second thing they talk about is the radiation damage. So satellites
Yeah.
can face high radiation that can corrupt data and damage advanced processors. And that's because today's chips that's designed is just not designed for that type of environment.
Yeah.
And then another thing, the third thing is the maintenance. So on
Mm-hmm.
Earth, it's one thing where you can servers can be easily swapped out and repaired constantly. But in orbit, that's, they're saying it could be impossible because broken satellites become dead weight or debris.
Yeah.
And then now they talk about the Kessler syndrome, which you mentioned, that launching
Mm-hmm.
1 million satellites could increase orbital debris,
Debris.
risking
Mm-hmm.
collisions that create destruction of other space assets.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, and then it's just a manufacturing impact as well. So frequent rocket launches and re-entry of satellites could affect the
Yeah.
atmosphere in some type of way, and manufacturing emissions on Earth can outweigh any gains that may be any orbital gains.
Yeah.
So yeah, Tiff, I wanted to throw that in there so they can really have something to think about as far as and I'm sure it's other risk as well that we didn't cover, but just as a
Yeah.
start though, those are some concerns that's being talked about.
Well, and they talked about too, so you listed all of them, but they also talked about the metal that the satellites were made out of, like the aluminum and magnesium and lithium, and all that combined with the rocket
Mhm.
exhaust. Like when these things are entering back into our orbit, because let's just say the durability of it, like what happens when you can't get to one to repair it, and again it's not working, it's malfunctioning, where does it go? Right? Does it come back
Right,
into
right.
Earth's atmosphere? Like how is all of that um like the metals and stuff when it enters back into Earth's atmosphere? How is Earth really compensating for all of that? So I think that's important to mention. And also they said something too about Elon like really not being transparent with the maintenance costs, because he's labeled it as being like a cost effective way,
Yeah.
or a cost, he really, I think he quoted his costs very conservatively. I think that's how they put it. And so there's not a true realistic picture of how much this is going to cost as far as maintenance is concerned, because I
And
think
I
he's
and I
not being true with that.
Yeah, I think with Elon Musk, I think he don't really I don't think he's the type of guy that really want to call out the possibilities that could interrupt what he's trying to
Oh
do or
yeah,
interrupts his plans. So even if he knows, like, okay, there got to be some consequences to what I'm doing, but
yeah,
sometimes guys' ego be too in the way that they be blinded by the possibility of their plan not working out. Um,
yeah,
and because of that, he's willing to take the risk. It's
yeah.
been a lot of guys in the industry that's skeptical on this idea,
Hmm.
and just the pushbacks of it. Like Sam, like the CEO of OpenAI, Sam Altman.
Hmm.
He thinks the concept in his is ridiculous. Just because of, like you said, the cost of the maintenance and things
Hmm.
like that. Even the CEO at NVIDIA and different analysts,
Yeah,
kind of warn people about the needs of
yeah.
or the risk that can happen as far as planet Earth. So my question is like, okay, could this be a way to distract us from building what needs to be built here on Earth, trying to build something out of space? And I think that's something that we can think about.
Yeah.
That we don't necessarily have to answer it now, but we have
Yeah.
to ask that question, like, okay, is this could be a distraction from innovating or making Earth better? Instead, let's just take things out of space.
Well, I think it's a twofold, right? So Elon's not the only one trying to do this. He's just the only one that's filed paperwork, because I think we talked about that in our last episode. Like, there are other entities, to include Amazon, that are looking. I think we when we said that, it was Amazon, but there are other
Mhm.
entities looking at trying to do this. So he's not the only one. And like I said, they mentioned, China is also looking into trying to do something like this. So I think we're looking for better ways to really provide the resources to support the advancement of AI.
Yeah.
But I will say this: something's going to have to give, because remember earlier we dropped an episode that talked about the health ramifications of the data center in Memphis. It was one of Elon Musk's data centers, right? And it was
Oh yeah.
causing all these health problems with the
Hmm.
turbine engines and all this other stuff. So, I mean, I think that looking into I'm not opposed to looking at different ways of doing something, but I think we
Hmm.
really need to talk through and understand, to the best of our ability, what are the possible pros, but possible cons, and how are we going to reposition ourselves to be able to handle these things? Because one of the professors in the article, um, was a Dr. Aaron Bowley. He's a professor at the University of British Columbia. He said
Hmm.
every time you put a satellite up, the thought process should be, we use part of it, part of the resource, and now we allow someone else to use it. It's just not solely
Mm.
ours, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because again, that's like if you had the money and I had the money. Okay, just because I can, I'm going to put a satellite in space. And now just because you can, you're going to put 1 million. And I say, you know what? I want to double that to 2 million. Like, where's the cutoff?
Yeah.
Where's the universal
Right. Right.
governance, right? So,
And that's something to be concerned about, is that instead of really thinking it through, it become more like a challenge. Like, okay, I need to beat
yeah.
you to the punch. And if you want to put X amount of satellites, okay, I'm gonna try to beat that, and I'm gonna put. But something else they threw in there is, when you have something that close to the sun, I think we have to run the possibility of it
Hmm.
melting something, like it is burning
Yes.
out something, like something being that close to the sun. So he doesn't he they don't really talk about, okay, if we have something this close to the sun,
Hmm.
you can't honestly believe like everything is going to function like efficiently when you have
Yeah.
something, taking that much heat at one time. So yeah, Tiff, I
Look, it's
think
going
I
to be
think this is.
snowing in June because the ozone layer screwed up.
Yeah, it's gonna mess up some. It's gonna mess up something. Like I know when we read the last episode we hopped on, I'm like, okay, it is genius. Like I like the idea of it,
Yeah.
and again, that's why I'm glad I have these conversations with you because it makes me go look at information. Okay, Tiff said like, okay, what's the possibilities of this taking a U-turn, a left turn, and
Yeah.
yeah, this is something we wanted to think about. I know that it probably wasn't going to be in as in depth as our last conversation, but this can lead to people with something to think about. Bless you,
Bless
dude.
you, little man.
Bless you, man. Even the sneezed all on my hand. Um, so so now we got to ask ourselves, should humanity? Because remember, we talked about the
Yeah.
IPO, the initial public offering, and them taking up the company from private to public. So now we have to
Public.
ask ourselves: should humanity invest in the stars, or should we just fix what Earth? Should we fix Earth first? And
Yeah.
I think that's definitely something we got to think about. Just going out of the episode, and you don't have to think about it now, but just keep that in the back of your. This dude is back here messing with the lights. So Tiff, like it's like he throwing me off so much right now, but it's all good. We need this type of content.
Yes, we do. Look, he said the
We
light
need-
ain't lighting.
Yeah, we need this type of content. He done rearranged the lights back here, so like they gonna catch that. It went from like a gradient effect to now it's just one solid color back there. Yeah, Tiff, is there anything you want to leave with the people, like as far as this, and maybe some things we should think about, on this side of the spectrum?
So I will leave with a quote because I wrote this down at the end of the article. They were talking about, it says, the promise of prosperity is not permission to be reckless. And so I think that's what we've been talking about this whole time in every conversation. As we advance with this technology, we all have a responsibility to ourselves and to each other to just ensure that, again, we're not being reckless. And so I want to encourage people to keep monitoring this, keep monitoring other technology advancements, and ask yourself, like, what are we potentially giving up or putting at risk in order to do this? And I think anytime that you involve technology in anything that you're doing, whether it's work or at home, that you need to ask yourself that, like, this is great, but what are we sacrificing? And is it worth it?
Right. Absolutely. And I agree with you, Tiff. Also, we got to think about, man, imagine, a sky with millions of more satellites, but let's think about the fallout of that if those satellites was to collide with one another. Because a million that's a lot of satellites on top of what's already out there, So there, you can't honestly believe that we can have 1 million satellites plus what's already in orbit, and there's no risk of something colliding with one another, and then now we have bigger problems. So yeah, I think the whole purpose of this is one man doing this, and my son is creating these lighting effects in the background, y'all. So just enjoy the light show he got going on. He having a good old time back there, but yeah, we got it. This is one person. This is one person doing this, and just picturing how much that is, and just you can't honestly think something wouldn't collide with one another, and that possibly creating something bigger. So yeah, y'all, I would say take this conversation, like, if you haven't listened to part 1, when we talked about the merger of XAI, and we go into real detail, I think we was on there for about 35 to 40 minutes, somewhere around there. So it was a lot of detail on that subject. So if you haven't checked that out, go back and look at part 1 of us discussing XAI merging to SpaceX, and then come back and listen to this. And then now you have something on the positive side and then something on the negative side. And then now you can take this conversation and kind of analyze it yourself as well. So yeah, Tiff, I think I think we definitely left them with something to think about in this episode. Yeah, so if it ain't nothing, it ain't nothing else you want to add, or we good?
I think we're good. We're gonna have to invite your cameraman back, your light show man back, because he back
there going stupid right now. He back there going crazy. Look, listen, y'all. Listen, we gonna have a human to human real quick. Normally when me and Tiff be on here talking, he take his nap at a certain time, and I know that. So I'll put him down for his nap. Me and Tiff will come chop it up for a good 30 minutes. But for some reason this time, he got to screaming at the top of his lungs, and I had to go get him. So now he became a part of the show this episode, and he created his own light show in the back. He done mess up the whole gradient effect that I normally have, and it's switching from blue to yellow, and it's going light to dark, and he just going crazy right now.
It's technology, man. He is.
But it's about the content, y'all. As long as y'all got the message, it don't even matter. You know what I'm saying? We all human. Sometimes we gotta throw that type of shit in the content, man. So thank you, son. Thank you for that, son. So as always, y'all, make sure y'all subscribe to the channel. Follow sis on IG, follow myself on IG, and we have been doing pretty consistent. It has became a job that I enjoy doing, just staying up to date on new technology, new information, whether it's with NVIDIA, whether it's with OpenAI, Elon Musk and what he has going on, or whatever in the AI space. And it has been something that I have grew to enjoy, you know what I'm saying? So because of that, we don't even think about the progress for real. We just hop on here, talk about what's being currently talked about in the AI space. And we put it out into the world for y'all. Just, if you somebody that don't really keep up on that type of stuff, it's our job to provide it for you, So, so make sure y'all subscribe to the YouTube channel. And without that being said, y'all, life is good. Life is wonderful. Be blessed to be alive. Self-sufficiency is how you survive. To the kings and queens, to the guys and goddess forever and always. Think successful. It's excellent.